Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this session of Authors Live. I'm Ishri Mishra, and today I'm in conversation with Miss Nadia L. Santos, and we're going to talk about her book, Because I Fell in Love with Florante. So, hi, Nadia. Would you like to introduce yourself and your book to the audience, please?
Okay. Hello everyone. I am Nadia L. Santos. I am a senior high school teacher by profession. I am teaching Filipino and work immersion to my senior high school students.
Okay.
I am a textbook writer and a literary writer at the same time.
Mhm.
And just recently, I was given a certificate of registration that covers the classification as author writer from the Development National Book Development Board of the Philippines.
Oh, wow. Mhm.
Mhm.
And a bit about your book?
Okay, my book with Ukiyoto is entitled Because I Fell in Love with Florante. Actually, this is a compilation or a collection of the poems that I've written for the past 6 years.
Oh,
Mostly, the poems are based on my experiences, and the others are just of random topics.
okay. Beautiful. So we will definitely get into the collection itself, but before that, I did notice that there's a very famous book that inspired you to write this book. So, and it's also
Yes.
something that's very relevant to the Philippine history. So, can you talk a little
Yeah.
about that?
Actually, this book is inspired by the classical literature here in the Philippines, which is Florante at Laura,
Mm-hmm.
that I've had teach no for how many years during the junior high school days of my students. This is written by Francisco Balagtas, and I really fell in love with poetry because of him,
Okay.
actually.
Okay. So that inspired you to write this poetry collection, but because you have had such an extensive experience in your
Mm-mm.
career as an author, can you talk a bit about what your collection is about, and how you were inspired? Like, what was your writing process for the book?
Okay. Actually, most of my topics there are based on my experiences. And I really love writing poetry because, having that figures of speech included in the poetry, it is both challenging and at the same time
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling on my part. And the others are just of random topics because I used to join contests, and I was able to pick up a little of the topics there,
Mm-hmm.
and it really inspired me to do so much about poetry. I really love poetry. I don't know why, but I love it so much.
I see. You also mentioned that how in Philippines, people when they write poetry, there's this syntax that they use, or there's these rules and regulations. But also, people have started writing in free verse as well. So,
Yeah. Mm-mm.
can you talk about the kind of poetry that you usually write?
Actually, most of my poetry are of the rhyme, rhyme
Okay.
poetry,
Okay.
because just like I've mentioned a while ago, putting those rhyming words at the end
Mhm.
of your poetry of every line
Right.
is both challenging and fulfilling.
Yes, definitely.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
obviously, because like you mentioned that you've been writing this collection for 6 years now, or like it's a collection of your poetry from 6 years. So,
Yes.
how do you think you've improved in those 6 years?
Hmm. Before, I used to write based on my experiences, but now I'm open to the idea of writing anything under the sun as
Mm-hmm.
long as I have an idea. And I think when you write something, there's a part of that where you will be able to do some research.
Mm,
So
right.
it's both a writing process for me and at the same time a research thing for me.
Mhm.
It
Okay.
expands my horizon and my knowledge about certain things.
Okay. And can you tell us a bit about how you research for your poetry?
Um, like for example, it's all about the topic is all about cats.
Hmm. Okay.
and I want to describe this animal to the best way that I can on a positive note. So I will try to research what is there about cats that is so interesting. That's
Mm-hmm.
why people love having them as pets.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because actually, I have dogs,
Okay.
but I'm open to the idea of having cats because I think they're very gentle and just like dogs, they're also our best friends.
Right.
So
I
I do
think.
some little bit of researching on that part.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, cats have been misjudged here and there. I completely
Yeah.
agree with you on
Mm-mm.
that.
Yes.
But also, I really like how you talk about the fact that if there's something that you don't know much about, so you try to get as much knowledge about that topic with an open mind, which I think
Yes.
is something that we can all learn from. So, yeah, thank you for that. Your collection is not just poetry, there's also stories in it, right? So,
Yeah.
is there like how did you decide on this collection that kind of includes like all forms of writing?
Um Actually, yeah. My book is all about poetry,
Mm.
but I'm really trying my best to venture into another genre,
Ah, I
which
see.
is short story. Actually, I included that one short story there in my book because as a writer, I think you really have to broaden
Mm-hmm.
your your writing style, or
Right.
maybe add an additional or have an additional genre to
Mm.
write. And as of the moment, I'm currently working my way out for me to be able to, have that practice of writing short stories because I love reading short stories, but I am not that good, no, when it comes to writing one as of the moment.
Oh, I think that's brilliant because not only you're publishing your poetry, but you're also learning a new form of writing while publishing, which I think is very inspirational, Nadia. I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
The other thing that I noticed in your collection is that there's one poem that's in English. So
Yeah, the
was
thank you
that a
parents.
yes?
The
So
thank you parents.
was how did that come about? Like, how did you decide on writing in two languages, basically, in your book?
Actually, that is the only one in English,
Yeah,
I
that is.
guess, na from the book. I think we are having a semestral break during that time, and then
Mm,
suddenly there came into my feed. It just happened that it went passing into my feed about thanking parents. I think they're celebrating about the Parents' Day, just like the Grandparents' Day here in the Philippines. And then I decided to write one.
okay.
Maybe because I am inspired because during that time I'm a bit emotional about my mom who really is very good and very supportive of me of all of my endeavors, and parang for me it's one way of saying thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I am not that expressive though because I'm a bit old right now, but I think writing a poem for my parents is a way of me expressing my love for them.
I think it's a beautiful poem. It's a beautiful ode to your parents. And I also noticed that this thing about rhyming that you adhere to in your poems, you do that in English as well. So have you been writing in multiple languages like in your entire career, or is this something new for you?
I can do both in Filipino and English, but since I am a Filipino teacher, most of my poems are written in our language. But just like I said a while ago, I really want to have that practice of
Right.
writing in other languages as well.
Mhm. Right. So you want to experiment more in different genres and another language, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how's that been going for you? Like, have you been dabbling into writing short stories or like writing in English more and more?
As of the moment, I am practicing writing in short stories.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit hard actually because maybe because I've been used to writing poems and this is something new for me.
Right.
And I don't know. But I guess practice makes perfect.
That's
So
true.
let's
I,
see.
That's true. And I mean, obviously, you already have so much experience in writing poetry, right? So, like, is there some kind of advice you would like to give to the audience? Because, like, in my experience, it's always much easier to pen down stories or, like, pen down your, I mean, essays or diary entries more than poem, because a lot of people think that you have to adhere to certain rules and regulations when you write poetry, right? But I mean,
Yes.
people also like to write in free verse, but I feel like writing poetry can be a little intimidating, can be a little scary for some people. So can you give us some advice on that?
Maybe I could quote what
Mm,
Louis L. Amor have, no, in
okay.
his quote, which is you have to start writing no matter what, I
Ah,
guess.
that's
You know,
nice.
you have to open the faucet for it to flow.
True, true. That's true.
So, and don't be afraid because even before when I was still young during my high school days, whatever comes to my mind, I just put it into writing.
Okay.
And I guess there's no one to judge you because it's only you, your pen, and your paper in the first place. So I guess um whatever comes to your mind, you have to put it into writing. You have to read. That's also
Mm,
one thing. Read every day, read more.
mm, right.
And you can also have a diary. Actually, having a diary or a journal is a good thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
a great way to start writing. When you try to write what lessons in life that has taught you, there's also one good thing as a start for you to be able to write.
I think that's a very helpful advice, because I feel like the more you write, the better you get at it, right? But do you
Yes.
also have people reading your poetry and giving you advice on it?
Hmm. Yeah, before my
Okay.
teachers, before when I was
Oh.
still studying, my teachers, they used to read it, they correct it, and
Mhm.
it's a good thing for me because it's not that already have all about the poetry or whatever genre it is. I think I
Mhm.
still need very much the advices, the opinion, the corrections of
Mhm.
those who are already established when it comes to writing.
Right. And I think you can do the same for other budding authors out there, right? You can also give them
Mm.
advice on their poetry, and I think that's a beautiful process in itself. Also, because you have a full time job, right? So how do you manage writing so much while also working? Like, how do you divide your time?
Actually, it's writing on this side, to be honest, because
Okay.
I've been working from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe if it's really your passion, you will really
Mm.
find time.
Mhm.
And I have this habit of sometimes when I'm already in bed and then suddenly an idea come into my mind, I really go up. I really get out of bed, and then I get my pen and paper and just write it
Mm.
before the idea evaporates.
Yes, I think that's really important, right? Because sometimes we think up of something, and then our mind just like we forget it after a while if we don't put it down.
Yes.
So I
So
think
put it down, put it into writing.
yes, and I think what I think was something that I've gained from this conversation with you is that writing routinely is very important, right? Because it
Mm-mm.
also hones your skill of writing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, talking about writing and talking about the wonderful book that you've written, it's a short collection. So, I wanted to ask if you have other plans. Like, do you plan to publish more of poetry, or even like books in other genres, or maybe just like novels?
Uh, for the second round for Ukiyoto, I think I, I want to challenge myself to be able to have a second book, but this time not poetry. But I know I will be going through a lot, but let's hope for the best.
Let's hope for the best. I'm definitely looking forward to more of your writing, and I mean in both languages. To be honest, I have had to get your poetry collection translated to read it myself, but I definitely enjoyed it a lot. And I would love to see you write more in other languages as well. So that's amazing. One last question I have for you is, what was the publishing experience like for you with us?
My Ukiyoto is very accommodating.
Mhm.
They're very supportive. All of my queries are answered. They always have time for authors like me. I have so many questions, but they never get tired of asking all of those questions.
Right.
And they always have this I always feel like I'm in a one big family
Mhm.
who's really trying to reach out,
Mhm.
who's really trying to be supportive as ever, because as of the moment I am trying to venture into short stories, but I can feel
Okay.
that whatever it is that I will be writing for the second time around, Yukiyoto will always be there supporting me in every step of the way.
I feel really nice hearing that, and definitely will definitely be there for you for your next books as well. And
Thank
I
you.
mean, in general, publishing needs to be something that comes to authors easy, because publishing can be a little intimidating, can be a bit scary for people.
Yes.
So we at Ukiyo definitely try our best to make our authors feel at ease. So I'm
Mhm.
glad that you've had a good experience with us. And like I said, I've definitely loved reading your poetry, and I'm sure your readers and our audience will do that as well. So, again, thank you so much, Nadia, for spending this time with me. It was really nice
Thank
talking
you.
to you and hearing your thoughts. Would you like to say something to the audience before we conclude the session?
Okay. I would just like to promote,
Important.
our book
Yes.
from Ukiyoto, the very supportive publishing house ever. It is already out, no, for it is already out for everybody to see, for everybody to have. You can grab your copy. You will never regret it because it has been approved, no, by Ukiyoto,
Right.
which is a very stress-free publishing house ever. And yeah, that's it. You can have it, or you can grab a copy of it. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nadia. Like Nadia mentioned, I will be putting up a link for the book, and it's also available on Amazon. So definitely grab your copies, everyone. And thank you everyone so much for joining us today in this session. And thank you, Nadia, so much for talking to me
Thank
about your book.
you.
I hope you have a great week ahead.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye.